You've heard the Podzeen. Well, now you are listening to Podzeen Tour Thing.
All right, welcome. Come one, come all. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Featuring Frankie T and Danger Remington Dorchester.
Okay.
All right, Podzeners, this is another tour thing. This time, Danger and I are in the same room.
Hey.
So, yeah, changes the dynamic slightly, right?
Might even sound different.
Yeah, a little bit, I'm sure. You'll sound less digitized.
Cool.
And a little less like you're on the phone, although it's not that bad over Discord.
You know, I was just told about this thing where we are technically. There's this theory that we're already cyborgs because of how we interact with technology.
Yeah, it's
Were
really
you
cool.
telling me that?
No, I don't. I
Okay.
didn't have that conversation with you, but I've heard. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been brought up on Joe Rogan once or twice.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
there's definitely some
It's
of my...
definitely a Joe Rogan topic.
Yeah, some of my nerdy research I've come across that a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, like, mind exercise because of our reliance on technology.
Yeah, if you think about how it's changed our day-to-day life and society as a whole.
Right?
Yeah, it has become a part of us.
I would argue that we as individuals are not cyborg, but we as a society would be a cyborg.
Yeah, we lead cyborg-esque lives.
Yeah. So, now that we're done talking about random things, welcome to episode 4.
Speaking of cyborgs, you remember Smoke from Mortal Kombat?
Of course I remember Smoke from Mortal Kombat.
All right.
I have half of him tattooed on my calf,
That's
remember?
right, that's
I have
right,
Noob Saibot. And for 2 games,
That's right,
they were one character together.
Nice. And there's
Anyway.
your second tangent of the show.
Yeah, right? So, now that we're into the episode properly, I guess, we're coming upon the first section of the episode is current tours. We are talking about bands that we like or tours that we can get behind or just random things that are touring that strike our fancy. Do you have anything to start? I know I've got plenty, but...
I know that I just saw that Promise of the Real is going to be coming through Denver here.
I don't know the name. Who's Promise of the Real?
Promise of the Real is a really good blues band fronted by Lucas Nelson, Willie Nelson's son.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and he's like our age too. He's on yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So he's I've seen him before. He's a ripping guitar player. I saw him opening up for B.B. King years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saw him open up for that.
Well, I was working. I was actually flying PA for B.B. King, and he was the opening band. So I got to hang out with Lucas for a minute.
You worked the B.B. King, like on tour with B.B. King.
Yeah. That was actually, as a little segue into our first segment as far as most memorable tours. That is one of them right there.
Wow, that is impressive.
But he's gonna be doing some shows. Promise of the Real's his band. Those guys are great.
Real REAL, not real like a movie reel.
No,
that's cool. Well, I mean, what does either of those two statements mean? You don't know.
Yeah,
that's fucking cool.
He sounds like a young Willie.
He doesn't really look like a young Willie, but
he's got that twang in his voice though when he sings. Yeah.
We went and saw this. I don't think Jack White's still on tour, but he's not on tour with this cat anymore. I'm gonna pull it up. We went to Salt Lake a couple months back. While you're thinking of your next one, because this is getting me off on a tangent, like we do.
Yeah. That happens.
We went and saw Jack White in Salt Lake, and the opening band is gonna drive me crazy until I can think of it. Because
it's not really the Raconteurs.
Cool. No, it wasn't the Raconteurs.
Raconteurs? Is that how you say that?
Yeah. He did some Raconteurs music because, he wrote that stuff. Where the heck?
What's Meg White up to?
I'm just raking in the royalties from the stuff from the White Stripes. He has a female drummer currently who was actually really good. She was the best part of... But she was the best part of the rhythm section. he was
What?
yelling at her a little bit.
Wow.
She was a little behind the beat,
Mm.
and the bass player was in front of the beat, and so they were kind of clashing. But
Yeah.
she was the better half of the rhythm section. I really didn't get behind that bass player. He wasn't doing it for me. Oh, come on.
Are you messing this up, dude? Hey, David Byrne is still on tour. Wow.
Seriously?
Been going like all year. I'm looking at these dates. Yeah. October 2nd, October 3rd, October 5th, 6th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 21st, 22nd. Yeah, he's going all the way till the end of the year. Or to the end of November. Man, he's got to be getting up close to... He's got to be in his 60s by now. Right?
It's something like
Pushing
that. Yeah,
70,
'cause
I
he was
imagine.
at least in his 20s back in the 70s.
Yeah. Well,
So...
yeah.
Because
Good for him.
That's when they were doing CBGBs all the damn time.
Yeah, and I've heard great things about that tour. I think we mentioned it a couple of shows ago, but yeah, David Byrne's still rocking it hard.
Still rocking the tour.
And I just would like to take this moment to thank David Byrne for teaching people that you don't have to sing in key for people to like your music. On like a pop level, Jerry Garcia did that to a subculture, but
Well, and so did Brain Fart. Why do I never remember names? Bob Dylan. God
oh
damn.
yeah.
Bob Dylan never sang in key.
Yeah, but he also
He'd
got like made fun of for it. Like people don't really
guess
criticize
that's
David
true.
Byrne for being a bad singer, but he does kind of have this weird thing with his voice. Where it's not,
That's true.
yeah, because of the way he does it, it becomes musical. But if I talked like that, you would think I had some sort of head injury.
Right?
Interesting fact about the name Nancy: that's British slang for prostitute.
I did not know
That's
that.
where the name Nancy Boy came from. Somebody that has to pay for sex.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You're
And-
just full of awesome little tidbits.
Yeah, that's the big tell of why Rocky Raccoon, the Beatles song, is about a whore. Her name was McGill, but she called herself Lil, but everybody knew her as Nancy.
No shit.
Yeah. Her real name was Lil. Her hooker name was
Nancy.
or whatever. Yeah, her name was McGill. She called herself Lil, but everybody just called her Nancy. She's just another prostitute. And she and her man who called himself Dan, the guy that shot Rocky, yeah, that was her pimp.
This is gonna bug the shit out of me, but I'm just gonna have to move on because I can't find. Anyway, the cat that he was on tour with for the leg that I caught him in Salt Lake was a fantastic little like blues country kind of player, and it's really upsetting to me that I can't find his name now, because you would dig the shit out of him, but he's not on the current leg of the tour that Jack White's on right now.
Yeah.
But Jack White was fucking cool as shit to see live. I really dug that show. Even though the venue was not the greatest.
Where'd you see
the
him?
Great Saltaire in Salt Lake.
Oh, I've never been there.
It's on the Great Salt Lake,
Oh, that's cool.
which is like 20 minutes away from my
Oh.
sister's house where we stayed.
How was the weather on the Salt Flats there? Was there a good
was-
sunset, like
yeah.
floating mountains
It
and
was really
everything
cool.
during the show?
I think they started. It was about dusk when they got on stage.
Okay, that's about when the mountains start floating on the Salt Flats. That's
It was-
really cool.
I think it was just past that point when Jack White hit. We went out and kind of walked on, because the Great Salt Lake is super fucking low these days. So we walked on the lake bed.
Oh, on the actual lake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like the Salt Flats. That is the lake bed. Like, yeah, the lake is very low these days.
No, because it used to be the Saltaire went right up to, or the lake went right up to the Saltaire.
Oh yeah.
And so now it's like 2 football fields away.
Okay.
Like when I was a kid, the Great Salt Lake went right up to the Great Saltaire. If what my sister tells me is accurate, because I don't remember much about that. But my mom used to take her out. We're going to the beach, and they'd go out to Great Salt
If I
Lake.
remember it the way she told me to.
All right. So the 2 tours that I wanted to bring up last time was like, you know what? They just got announced. We can hold off until next week. Devildriver Are you familiar with Coal Chamber from back in the day?
It sounds familiar, but I mean, nothing.
They were very much
the details are coming to the surface.
Like post-grunge, but pre-nu metal kind of era of heavier stuff.
Like in the Nickelback days.
No. Nickelback is post-nu metal, I feel like.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize to AB and Scotty Jam Jam for bringing up Nickelback.
And Nickel Derp. If you call him Nickel Derp, it's acceptable.
Oh, man. I feel like we should just bleep that name out like it's a profanity. There's certain words you just can't say.
You just can't say the derp. But so their lead singer,
if we do bleep it out, they're going to be wondering, like, what the hell are they? What are they talking about? Join us next week when we reveal what bands.
500 megahertz, right? The bleep tone. No,
it's 1K.
Megahertz. Is it 1K?
1K or 800, something like that. It's like an F sharp.
Yeah. So their lead singer, Des Ferreira from Coal Chamber, a few years back when the new wave of American heavy metal became a thing, so like as Lamb of God was becoming huge, started a band called Devildriver. And I saw them at that. We talked about when I saw Down, Phil Anselmo's Down up at the Starlight with Hank 3 on bass.
Yeah.
That show, Devildriver, opened. So that was my first exposure to them. They are one of my favorite new wave American heavy metal bands, aside from obviously Lamb of God, and just super heavy. They just put out a covers record, though, where they do metal versions of classic country tunes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's called Outlaws Till the End or something like that, and some of the tracks are kind of not very good, I'm not going to lie, but the tracks that hit very well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to choose the right song when you're going to do that.
He did a
I would
Hank
love to
song
hear
with Hank 3.
Oh.
He did Country Heroes, which is a Hank 3 song, and just not a very good cover. I really love Hank 3. I really love Devildriver, so you would think the two together would be great, and it didn't get pulled off very well. But most of the rest of the tunes, and he has Johnny Cash's son on the record doing a guest vocal spot. Randy Blythe from Lamb of God does, I think, 2 tracks on there with him. Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting concept because it's not they're not doing the style of country. It's still Devildriver heavy metal with these country tunes. So it's the same chord progressions, and they kind of put a little twang on it, but it's still like rah kind of stuff. So in support of that, they're on tour right now with a band called Ginger, who we saw open up for. Who did Ginger open up for? They're from Cradle of Filth. That's right. We went and saw Cradle of Filth last time they came through, and Ginger opened up for them, and they were not very good. But it's still an interesting bill. Cradle was okay. I always get behind Cradle live.
I've never seen them live.
I'm not huge on their music just because it's like black metal for beginners, but their live show, I've seen them live probably 3-4 times at this point, and they put on a hell of a live show, that's for sure. Their guitar player is intense. Their lead guitar player dude is, because he's got this like big white dude fro, and they have a lot of smoke effects going on stage, so he'll stand above the smoke machine with his white dude fro and catch all the smoke.
It looks like Sideshow Bob or something.
And he'll catch all the smoke in his hair, and then like he'll stand up and just play this really intricate shit and just kind of stare off into the crowd all creepy while the smoke is releasing from his hair. It's very effective visually. So yeah, that I'm excited for that, but I don't think I'm gonna go catch it just because the opening acts are not my cup of tea. And then when I go to a show, I want to enjoy the whole show, not just the one band I'm there for.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about a tour that's not happening. This band has played 0 shows in 2018. Naked Raygun.
Why do I know that name? What is that?
They're like East Coast punk.
That would be why I know that name. Yeah.
I'm looking right here. There's over 6,000 people tracking their concert alerts, waiting for them to say if they're gonna do another show. But yeah, I saw them in Chicago at the Cobra Lounge years ago.
Oh yeah,
it was awesome. Yep.
Interesting.
You know who does have some shows coming up is Steel Panther.
Oh man! So when I was chefing at the pizza joint a couple years ago, one of my dough makers was a kid who unironically loved Steel Panther. Unironically, he was like 19, maybe 20, something like that, and his favorite band was the Cult.
Oh.
No, his favorite band was the Beatles, but he really loved the Cult as well. And also very unironically loved Steel Panther. I was like, there is something wrong with you,
They're
kid.
good. They're good. They put on a killer show.
Yeah.
Steel Panther is
Very much if you
awesome.
wanna-
It is entertainment.
Travel back to the 80s for a night.
Yeah. I would like to see them if we're going to... Are we doing hypothetical touring yet?
Yeah, we'll get to that point, but whatever.
I'd just say, Steel Panther and The Darkness, I think would be a good...
That would
Those
be
two
that would
together,
be great.
They probably have toured together.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. So yeah, the other one that I found last week that I didn't actually talk about was Black Dahlia murder.
I've never heard of those guys.
You've never heard of Black? They're super extreme stuff. So.
Like
Not
G.G.
super
Allen
surprised.
extreme? Or,
Not extreme stage antics.
or like Carrot Top extreme? Sorry.
Oh, that was unexpected. No, they're like if you take what the image that comes to mind when you say the term math metal, they're that meets black metal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very heavy stuff. But they put on a wicked live show as well. And the part of the reason I'm stoked for it is because they have so many cool openers. If I can pull up... Oh, why did I... Oh, I didn't close it. Good. Their openers are almost as noteworthy as they themselves. Nope, not that one. But Black Dahlia, they're just goofballs on stage. Like, they play this really crazy, heavy, extreme shit, and they're like playing grab ass on stage.
Nice.
It's totally the kind of stage antics I used to do when I was doing a metal band. There we go. Doing a metal band regularly. So openers are Pig Destroyer, who is pretty notable in heavy circles, for about half or for like 3 dates rather. Skeletal Remains is also a big one.
Okay.
That is very interesting. That would be opening for them, and then Havoc. I'm pretty sure it's the same Havoc that they did the documentary about a few years ago. That like they were these thrash metalers back when Metallica was in their heyday back in the 80s, and they were like the poor man's thrash, and they didn't really go anywhere. And then there's the documentary about them, and then they've been popular ever since. Like maybe 5 years ago, this documentary happened. So it's very interesting situation with Havoc.
I imagine it's the same Havoc, but
I would hope so.
I did not see that documentary, so.
So yeah, that's a really a tour that I would love to go see, because I think the Denver date is Pig Destroyer is one of the openers, and they're very extreme as well. They're a vegan metal though, and I don't understand. But that's a whole different political discussion.
I'm gonna go ahead and pump the brakes on that one.
Yeah,
there.
pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you know what just came through that I missed, or it might even be happening tonight. No, not tonight. I think it was a week ago.
Yeah.
Beck just came through and played Red Rocks.
Yeah, I think that was
Missed that one.
Week ago or so. I didn't hear about it until yesterday.
Yeah, don't you love hearing about shows that just happened? You're like, oh, I wanted to see that.
But is it Red Rocks? So I probably wouldn't have gone anyway.
Yeah.
And then one last one, just because I just talked about these guys on the Nerdy, and I really, really love them. I've seen them twice. Unearth is a metalcore band from the Midwest somewhere that blew my mind with their third record. It's called 3, and it's
How
fantastic.
creative.
They're right. But if you're looking for like a prime example of the genre, that's that record. They by no means are the ones who paved the way for the genre, because that would be like Killswitch Engage and Shadows Fall and the like, but they definitely are one of the front runners at this point, because it's kind of a dying / dead subgenre of the heavy stuff. But they kill it live. They are just insane. The first time I saw them, they were opening for Killswitch Engage, and Adam D, who is the sometimes lead guitar player in Killswitch, was drumming for Unearth. So Unearth opened the show. I don't remember who the second act was. So he played drums in the first act, got to sit down for about 45 minutes while the second act played, and then was the guitar player for the headliner.
Wow.
Like, that's intense.
Yeah. I've seen Claude Coleman Jr. after, playing 3 hours with Ween or whatever,
right.
Go and do a late night show with where he opened up for himself as late night. At late night he played as a Mandala, his side project band where he plays guitar and bass and keyboards, and he is a Mandala.
I want.
And then and then he drummed for Mike Dillon.
No shit.
Yeah, it was like he was playing for like 6-7 hours straight
Jesus.
between all types of instruments. It was really impressive.
I would love to do that. AB and Jam and I have shot around the idea of doing a night with the Orifice.
Yeah.
Where it's all of the different iterations of us.
Yeah.
So like it would probably be like Sandwich opens, and then I don't know, fucking
We do the
mix that
Scotty
with-
Dangerous.
Mix that with the Scotty Dangerous, and then the Hungry Dog at Home stuff, and then we could throw in some Sour Mistakes in the middle if we can ever get those songs finished.
Maybe some Fundamental Crudities.
And Fundamental Crudities would probably go well with some of the Sour Mistakes stuff, and then end the night with OA, so the rest of us can just sit down and let those three go crazy.
That would be great.
That would be, but like do like a 3.5 hour kind of ordeal somewhere downtown.
The hardest part would be narrowing down which 3.5 hours of music we want to play.
That's true, because we've got 3.5 hours of music with just one of those bands. So,
All right.
Yeah. So
maybe one day we'll even let you guys listen to it if we book a show like that.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, it's available. A good chunk of it is available anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
If they go to telepathicsandwich.com, shameless plug.
Telepathicsandwich.com, telepathicsandwich.com, telepathicsandwich.com.
Just have that playing in a loop underneath us, so it's subliminal.
Absolutely.
So that's tours, unless you have something else that's catching your eye, sir.
Well, I am thankful that the Dillinger Escape Plan is not touring anymore, because those guys destroy everything.
Yeah, that's. I think it was Jam that was telling me that on Podzeen, because
he did that show with them.
Yeah,
down in Texas, down in Austin.
I love Dillinger. I've seen him live twice, and no, I totally agree. Being a techie on that show would fucking suck, but being in the audience for that show is incredible.
Yes, I understand the appeal, but when you're working there and you're seeing them destroy everything you've worked so hard to build, yeah,
I can imagine Pusciato, their lead singer, is a fucking dick. Like from little bits that I've heard of people who have done work for him, aside from you and Jam, I can see how that would be really fucking annoying.
It's like, all right, I'm ready for this to be done. Let's go ahead and just have the insurance company waiting at the end of the show so we can analyze the damage.
I'm sure that's a big part of the reason why they didn't really do much more live.
The show that Stefan did with them, the show that Scotty did with them, I believe they broke every single cymbal stand in half. He was telling me.
Fucker.
Yeah, you know how hard it is to break one of those in half?
Wow.
Yeah, like snapped them.
Wow, dude.
To give all you listeners out there an idea of the type of force that show compels. Yeah.
Wow.
Look at a cymbal stand the next time you see a drum kit and think about how easy it would be to snap that in half.
I thought, and because the last time I saw him wasn't very recent, I thought that their drummer, and it was also 2 drummers ago, but I thought their drummer played with a cage and not stands. But again, it's a different drummer, so different setup. That
I think that was all. That was rental gear too.
oh man, that's why it was all rental gear.
Yeah, that's
so
why it
they
was
could
all rental
break
gear.
it.
They probably don't have any of their own gear left
Oh
anywhere.
man. I idolize their guitar players though. Those guys are in. Well, the lead cat, because he's the only member that's been in there since the beginning. And they're not even a band anymore. They're officially calling it done, not just not touring.
Disbanded. That's why I'm giving that shout out for them not touring.
Oh, all right. So, Life of a Roadie is the next segment, and this is, we already kind of touched on it a minute ago with BB King, but most memorable tour as a roadie. So again, not necessarily Ween or String Cheese, but something that you worked on tour. Just BB King.
That BB King, that was a little run. I think it was 3 shows through Nebraska and Wyoming or something like that with Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real opening up. That was really cool. Just from the proximity of hanging out with Lucas Nelson and puffing a bunch of weed with him, and got BB King stopped and thanked me, and went out of his way to thank me, and that always stuck with me as like a kind of a trophy in my career. He is in a wheelchair and still went out of his way to shake my hand and thank me for my work.
Right.
That was cool. Another really memorable tour was one of the early ones.
Tyler Childers. Sorry, I finally found the name of that band, the guy that I was looking for. The guy that opened up for Jack White.
If anybody wasn't listening 15 minutes ago.
Sorry. ADD, OCD, whatever. I just found the name. So Tyler Childers. And we'll go look his shit up when we're done recording. Sorry. Continue.
Awesome.
The other memorable one.
Yeah, the other really memorable one would have been one of the early tours I did with one of the couch tours. Going through with the band.
That's right. You told me last time you did some of those couch tours.
And we had in the early days they'd have regional opening bands, and one of them was Candy Coated with Jamie Lynn, the Volcom snowboarder. It was his band, and Jack Endino was his guitar player, whose nickname he doesn't appreciate, G-Fog, Godfather of Grunge. He's the producer of Nirvana's Bleach,
right,
and all that. Yeah, he pretty much helped grow that sound of Seattle rock that we now know as grunge.
Right.
From Screaming Trees and early Nirvana, like pre-Grohl Nirvana, because Dave Grohl did not drum on Bleach.
And didn't start the Nevermind sessions, if I remember correctly. That was when the transition happened. It was when they started recording Nevermind.
But Jack Endino, who was the engineer and producer of Bleach, was the guitar player in this band, and invited me into the studio, like his studio, and showed me around. Jamie took me up to this piece of property that he purchased with all his snowboarding money from the X Games and stuff like that in the 90s. And we went and shot guns with some of his Hells Angels friends and stuff like that. It was really cool. Went and hung out at the drummer's house and jammed out there and slow cooked some salmon and stuff. And
I can see why that would be memorable.
It was memorable, yeah. And we would try to, kind of do a similar thing for probably 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I was the monitor engineer on that tour. And we would always do 2 shows, like Seattle and then Portland, and then have a handful of days before we'd have to get down to the Bay Area.
Yeah, they always struck me as being super sporadic.
Yeah, well, they're trying to do weekend shows.
Right.
Is what it was. And so the weekdays, we would always go and we'd have a lot of free time on that tour. That's why it's both memorable and not memorable.
Not that memorable. I would love to remember some of the things that happened.
Yeah, but just those experiences, like, meeting people that have had such a huge influence in the industry and music that I grew up listening to, and then them showing me and inviting me into their personal lives away from work and making me feel accepted in the industry really made it memorable.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And we got really drunk and forgot it all.
Kind of like the Irish and the meaning of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, God, I think that's killer that you got to do even a couple of days for BB King before he died. That's intense, dude.
I did a handful of shows with him over the last years that he was playing. It was, I want to say in 2010 or something like that. He played, might have been 2009, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
He headlined Telluride Blues and Brews Festival. I was one of the PA techs out there. And it was on his birthday that he was playing. I think he was turning like 83 or something like that. And everybody sang him. The whole audience sang to him.
Birthday.
Yeah.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Life of a Roadie. Next, we are moving into the struggle. And this one isn't really a struggle topic necessarily. This is more us just waxing fancy. We're tours that we want to happen. So a tour that we could put together with any band in the world alive. We'll start with they have to be currently a band. So it'll put some parameters around it that should help.
Okay, all right.
Growing up,
Jimi Hendrix on guitar, Beethoven on keys.
It would be the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and then Beethoven and his orchestra.
No, and the conductor would be Zappa.
There you go. No, growing up metalhead. This is a common thing that you do with your friends. Like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if this band went with that band?
Yeah, it's our own type of fantasy tour.
Yeah.
If you will.
So I feel like I've put plenty of thought into it.
All right. What do you got?
I can't do that one because technically that band's not. We'll save that one for later. But
your rules, man. You can
it's
break
true.
them.
No. I'm not going to break them. I would do current bands that are in existence right now. I would do, just because the inner high school freshman in me would poop himself at this concert. I got very close to seeing this once, but Motograter, Mushroomhead, Slipknot.
Ooh.
I saw Motograter open up for Mushroomhead at the Gothic, so that's as close as I've been to that. And that was when Ivan was still singing for him, so they were still good. Motograter is actually currently on tour. I didn't touch on this because I can't find the details anymore, but they're currently on tour, which is really funny because there's none of the original members in that band. They have one record.
Yeah.
And all of the players on that record are no longer in the band. But they're on tour with Orgy.
Oh, wow. I didn't know Orgy was still playing.
Yeah,
wow.
Well, they broke up for a while, and then...
for more than a while.
Yeah, for almost a decade or something like that. But a couple years ago, they got back together. We actually went and saw them 2 years ago, I think, shortly after they got back together, about a year after they had been back together. They were on tour with... oh, no. Who was it? Powerman 5000.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That was a hell of a throwback
I haven't thought of that
show.
band in a while.
Right?
Wow.
And it was Powerman 5000 killed it. So did Orgy. Orgy put on a wicked show. I saw Orgy once back in their heyday where they opened up for Korn.
I was at an orgy once. I mean, wait, what?
Wait, what? I would imagine with all the rock stars you've met
Burning
that's
Man
not
was
really.
fun.
Oh no.
Sorry.
So yeah, Motograter. That would be the show, and then opening the show. Oh shit, what's their name? I'm not going to be able to look them up fast enough, but it's another band that's like that. They all wear masks. And they're a young band. They're like younger than us young.
Let's just call them Blue Man Group for fun.
Yeah, Blue Man Group. There you go. But yeah, that would be my first like current bands that are still bands show that I would love to put on just to see the sideshow. That would have to be like only 5 dates across the country, and it would be a big production because all very theatrical bands.
Yep.
And did I give you enough time to think of yours?
Well, I still got to go back to Steel Panther and Darkness. The Darkness.
I feel like that would be, and Darkness is back together these days.
It would just be awesome. Yeah, and they are back together. But I've always wanted to see more comedy in music. I'd like to see like Adam Sandler put together a tour again, and do something
Yeah,
with like
yeah, that
Tenacious D and Adam Sandler or something like that. Get the
Tenacious D is working
Lonely
on a new
Island
record.
Boys, like Lonely Island Boys and Tenacious D would be a killer. Like
That would be really cool.
yeah, maybe opening act Dimitri Martin because he's got some pretty funny songs as
Right.
well. Yeah, something like that would be great, and even as a build up to oh God, what's his name? The piano player. He does all his songs for Disney and stuff now. Like
Gary Newman.
Yeah, Randy Newman.
Randy Newman. There
Gary
you go.
Newman is
Gary
Gary
Newman
Newman's
is
older brother,
in
Randy
cars. Redheaded lady.
Newman. Yeah,
Gonna take an apple.
I would like to see Gene Simmons and Richard Simmons do a tour together.
Gene Simmons and his brother Richard Simmons. Is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, he's a strange brother. Very strange brother.
I would love to see like
I've actually never seen Jack White play live,
really.
and I would really appreciate to.
I want to see Jack White do like the G3 tour. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like where it's just I can't remember who did it. Like Vi's done it a couple of times, and
Yeah.
there's a bass version of it as well.
Twisted Sister would be a good one to add to that bill.
I feel like Killswitch would be a great show with. Sorry, I'm doing two different things at once. Killswitch with. Oh, and now I can't remember who I was gonna say.
Jeez. You quit doing the wrong of the two things.
I know, right? Not 40 Below Summer. Fucking, what is their name?
Sum 41.
No.
I really want to see Sum 41 and Blink 182.
I would not be opposed to seeing Blink these days because the most annoying member of the band is no longer in the band. So I want to see what they're doing.
I'd probably go for the scene
Go for the scene.
more than the music.
Just the people.
Yeah, the
there.
people.
Yeah. Just,
Probably some cute girls, daddy issues. Sorry.
Oh, that's horrible. You have a no.
I had a.
Off and on was where I was going with that, but
Yeah,
whatever.
more off than on these days.
Fair enough. God damn it! What is the name of that band? This is going to drive me nuts.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of the name either. Yeah, those one guys.
Those
They're great.
dudes.
Yeah, Rammstein's cousins.
Yeah. Because they're Swedish and not German.
Yeah, Rammstein's blonde cousins.
In Flames. Good God.
All right.
I would love to see Killswitch go on tour with In Flames again because I never caught that back in the day, it would have to be In Flames like their first 4 records.
Yeah.
Because their more recent stuff is not as good.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe I didn't find this one earlier. We might have to edit this back into the first part of the show. Mark Lanigan Band is doing a tour this October.
That's
Mark
another
Lanigan.
name I know.
He's from Screaming Trees.
Yeah, okay.
He was also like the kind of mysterious 5th member of Queens of the Stone Age for their Songs for the Deaf tour.
Oh.
And he did some stuff on Lullabies to Paralyze as well. He's the one that sings Lullabies to Paralyze. He's got that really low, growly voice.
You know what would be a really cool, speaking of obscure bands like that? The Residents and Tom Waits.
Ooh, that would be good. Tom Waits, yeah. I would like to see Tom Waits live.
I would, yeah.
With Residents, too, yeah. Maybe
Right?
Mr. Bungle. Yeah.
Right? There you go. Mr. Bungle opens for The Residents and Tom Waits.
Yeah, that would be, wow.
Oh, man. That would be so killer.
That would be pretty intense.
I feel like Residents and Tom Waits and Mr. Bungle. you could just die at that moment and be like, this is the peak of life. Why would I want to see anything else?
Yeah. I'd like to see Mark Lanigan band with if they were to play with like Queens of the Stone Age or something, so that Mark Lanigan would be able to be part of Queens of Stone Age for at least a couple of songs or something. I
would love to see the Queens go on tour with Grohl on the throne.
That would be awesome. They should do that with. This is a good one with them Crooked Vultures.
Fuck yeah!
Because then Grohl's drumming. You got 2 or 3. Yeah, JPJ on bass. Queens of the Stone Age opening up for them Crooked Vultures. That would be incredible. With Mark Lanigan, Queens of the Stone Age, them Crooked Vultures. That has some pretty killer crossover there.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk hypothetically now about?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
Well, what if you could just assemble like?
Are you going to assemble a band now? Is that what you're going to do?
I mean, if it's I was kind of thinking that.
Go for it.
But I don't have a drummer.
Sure you do. Neil Peart.
Okay, all right. I was thinking Billy Cobham, but no, Jack DeJohnette on drums.
Jack DeJohnette?
Yeah, he's an amazing jazz player. Started drumming with like Miles Davis and stuff when he was 16 years old or so.
Huh.
Yeah, like total protege. He has his own line of heisty cymbals. They're really nice. He's the only drummer I've ever set up cymbals for that had his own name like on the cymbal, like his series of cymbals. And then Lemmy on bass.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hendrix on guitar and Beethoven on keys. But like early Beethoven, when you could still kind of hear.
When you could still hear things.
Yeah, so you can play along.
And so they can improvise.
Oh yeah. And then with that type of assembly of a band, I would have to go with for a vocalist. Ooh. What would I do for vocals in that type of band? Chris Cornell.
Okay.
Maybe Chris Cornell. Maybe Kurt Cobain. I'm thinking something raspy.
There it is. The name of that band I was trying to think of for the Mask tour. Yeah. Kissing Candace is the name of the band. So Kissing Candace would open up for Motor Grader and Mushroom Head and Slipknot. Okay, sorry.
No worries. I'm glad we got that recorded. There's going to be a lot of editing.
I'm not necessarily going to have to go back but whatever.
Whatever.
So yeah, assembling a band, the hypothetical supergroup, if you will, I would do. Oh man, they're all going to be heavy players. I would do. On drums, that's the hardest one to nail down. I would say
Pickles from Death Clock. It's hypothetical. I think we've established that it's not going to be a real band, anyways.
Pickles isn't even that great, though. That's the thing. I would probably do Chris Adler from Lamb of God.
Okay.
Because I mean, really. And then one of the guitar players, I'm probably going to have 3 guitar players, but one of the guitar players would be Mark Morton from Lamb of God as well.
Oh, who's the drummer? What's his name? System of a Down.
Oh.
That guy crushes it.
That's the one band member in System I can't think of, because it's Chavo and Darren and Serge, but I don't remember the drummer's name.
Yeah. It's also Skippy's... One of Skippy's favorite drummers and biggest influences.
But yeah, I would do Mark Morton would be one of the guitar players. Chris Adler would be the drummer for sure.
Rick Sanchez on bass.
No, I would put on bass Ryan Martini, man. I'm sorry, I had my brain in the where would I go and not catching the joke. No, Ryan Martini, the guy who played in Mudvayne, is the living, like John Entwistle's godchild. Like, dude is amazing. He's in a band right now called Soften the Glare with one of the cats from Umphreys.
Oh, cool.
From a guy who's played with Humphreys a few times. I don't know if he's a current.
Or maybe
band
he
member,
just saw Humphreys play a few times.
No. No, he's been on records, on Humphreys records. I just don't know if he's an actual current band member or ex-band member.
Or like a kind of like a studio sit-in, like a Robert Hunter to the Grateful Dead type of thing.
He's a guitar player, and he's pretty good. He's got to be good to keep up with Martini, but like it's such a weird clash of, because Ryan Martini is very much an aggressive bass player, so like he does a lot of like Flea kind of theory in that he plays more than just Route 5 and is more into the chord than the guitar player is sometimes.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah, and it's an instrumental 3-piece. I can't remember who the drummer is. He was insignificant. But it's really, really cool to see that kind of jam band aesthetic with the guitar meet this really aggressive rock sound in the bass. So yeah, Ryan Martini would be my bass player. Absolutely. And then other guitar, I would have to pull in Jim Root from Slipknot.
Ooh. Okay.
Because his melody or his harmony with a primary guitar player is second to none. Dude can find a harmony to anything and make it so much more layered. I had a third guitar player, but I don't remember who it was. So we're just.
I didn't
go
know
with
we
two
got.
guitars.
I only chose one guitar player,
Mark
but
Morton.
I would do a second bass player. I'd put Jaco Pastorius. Jaco from Weather Report, dude.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I know that name.
The dude who got beat to death in a bar for being an asshole alcoholic. I mean, yeah.
And then on vocals, I would definitely go with two vocalists. It would be Corey Taylor and Howard Jones. The black dude who sang for Killswitch Engage.
I thought you were going to say Bieber. Marilyn Manson and Justin Bieber.
That people would pay to see that. It would end up in like some sort of strange orgy on stage, but
yeah, I'm sure
Manson
those
would
dudes
mistake
would probably
Bieber
come
for a
all
girl,
over each
and
other.
then- yeah. No, but Howard Jones and Corey Taylor are the best vocals in almost any genre. Like Jones doesn't do the screams so much in his new band, but
vocals, I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
It would almost have to be song dependent because Mark Lanigan, like Tom Waits, those guys have the low growl stuff that I'd want.
Yeah, it depends on the genre you're doing. So
Like,
since I'm building a heavy band,
Mike Patton, don't forget about him.
True.
He's also got like a 6.5 octave vocal range. He's like an opera singer. So
well, and he
as
can
far
do
as being versatile,
he can do crazy
that
things
might
with his
be what
voice
you
that
need to do. Yeah,
scare sound guys. Like,
yeah, him or like Gene Ween. Yeah, because they're so versatile with their.
Jeaner's pretty versatile.
Jeaner's more of a cartoon.
Funny story about I don't know if I've told it on this podcast. I don't even know if I've told it on Podzeen proper, but Patton did a bunch of voices for a video game, Call of Cthulhu video game back.
Oh, he did a bunch of the zombies and
He
stuff.
did all
too.
of the zombies
Yeah.
in I Am Legend. That's all Patton.
Okay, I think he
all
did
of
the
those
zombies
noises.
for is it Call of Duty that had the zombie versions that you
The
could do
I
or
think there's
something?
the zombie multiplayer.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he was the zombies for those guys as well.
But so specifically though for the right. Specifically though for the Call of Cthulhu game, I think it was like a PlayStation 2 game that he did all of the extra sounds and stuff for, all the creature noises.
Did he do Resident Evil?
I don't think he's done anything on Resident Evil.
Okay,
Because Resident Evil was like at its peak before he started doing other vocal stuff outside of music.
but there was like they did. I think they started revising.
Yeah,
Resident Evil.
I don't know
like,
if he's
under
done
the-
anything on the newer ones for sure.
Yeah.
But he did.
But around the time he was doing the voices for those other video games,
Right.
Resident Evil was also rebooting and like.
Yeah, it was going through a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And it's Japanese, and I think Cthulhu was a European production. So, because or it could have been a stateside production. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But he got into the booth and was doing some of these noises for the creatures in Call of Cthulhu, and scared the sound guy who was recording, the engineer who was recording him, because he didn't need effects to do a lot of the scary sounds.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And the engineer thought
thought that it was effects, and he goes, "How are you? How are you doing this?" And
oh, it's just the inner demons. Yeah. Nothing too fancy.
That blows my mind that someone can do all of those noises without. And he has a vocal album where it's just him doing vocal things. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a session thing with him just fucking around with his voice.
Oh, that would be cool. Oh, that just gave me another idea for another like cool tour to put together, like a Mike Patton vocal tour along with Bobby McFerrin.
Oh, I know the name. I brain fart so hard when I'm doing stuff like this.
Good times we have. The guy does all the weird sound effects. The original, like the dude that did all the weird shit with his voice. Yeah.
The cat from Police Academy.
Oh man. Michael Winslow?
Yeah, Michael Winslow on there too.
Yeah. Oh, the three of them, that would just crush. Wow, as an acapella group.
It's like it's like the G3 thing, only with voices this time.
And then you'd get like Louis Armstrong as the bass and if you had a barbershop quartet.
There you go. Yeah.
Able to put all those guys together and be like, what is happening?
Oh, yeah, so there you go.
I think I'm going to go start recruiting a barbershop quartet after this conversation.
Yeah, you do have some of the connections to get to some of these people.
My old one of my old high school principals was managed an a cappella group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here in Colorado. I remember talking about that with him. I think he still has my
Straight
music
no
business.
Chaser?
Well, I ran into him at a bar, and I was running sound. This is, I think I was 20, but I was still allowed in the bars because they didn't know.
Right.
And I was working.
Right.
I ran into him and, got to talk about the music industry, and he borrowed my music business book, and I don't think he's ever given it back. So, Rod Lucero, if you're out there,
I want my damn book.
If you're one of the 3 people that have listened to this podcast, you still have my music business book.
No, I feel like there's more. It's just 3 people on the YouTube, but whatever.
It's all right. By the time this airs, we might have 4.
Hey, it's true. We just might. Well, I don't know. You just listened to it once, so that's our 4th listen on the YouTube. There you go.
My man.
So yeah, that is the end of this episode, guys. Thank you once again for listening to Podzeen Tour Thing. So once a week, and we do the thing and the stuff and talk about our life as musicians, effectively, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, ramble on and try to keep your interest.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to ask you this, and I'll ask you this while we're recording.
Okay.
Do you think we should set up what the 2 topics for the 2 sections are going to be the week in advance so that we can say, and come back next week when we talk about X, Y, and Z, or just do it like we've been doing?
I don't know. I think we could do that. I think it would be nice to maybe try to get some feedback, like what would other people want us to talk about, and
so
hit us up with ideas or anything else, like bands that you like that maybe we have a story about, because we've seen and worked for more bands and events than we can possibly remember off the top of our heads.
So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, then you can send them through the website, or now that we're on the YouTubes, you can leave them down in the comment section on the YouTube page. Definitely let us know if you have any ideas for Life of a Roadie or for the struggle sections, and we'll just keep giving you all the good stuff on the tours and so on and so forth. And until next time, yeah.
Goodbye? Question mark?
Question?
Safe travels.